Pain.
Perfect description for week 2 of the NFL.
Pain is all we feel nowadays, whether you be a fantasy owner, a fan of an NFL team, or if you're me and you have all of your favorite sports teams just continually to disappoint you and let you down every single time. But that's why we love sports, because we give ourselves mini heart attacks and anxiety attacks. And what for? I don't have an answer. But this is episode not even. But this is episode 52 of the Fourth Line Podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Russ Allen, alongside co-host Jalen Johnson. And then, before we start things off, hey, new merch drop. All my footy fans, everyone that's been so gracious to start watching the show. Huge spike in viewers from the footy. We got shirts to commemorate the occasion. You know, footy is underrated. Look at this. If you're on video, you can see this sexy thing. But if not, just go to the links in this, and you get taken right to our store.
Exactly. And the people who aren't on video, obviously, is our new footy shirt. We've been obviously big in the footy world as of late, really getting into it. Both me and Ross, each other team. Ross, the Giants, me, the Bulldogs.
Don't talk about it.
But obviously, all of our merch you could find. Go to our website. You can look at our apparel.
Literally, find just it anywhere. Go to www.thefourthlong.com. And you click on apparel, go right to the store. We're all good. But there's a cheap plug out of the way first, because we need to talk about injuries. Injuries everywhere. But the biggest thing of all, the biggest news, the biggest revelation that we came up with, hell, just like a couple minutes before we started recording, Metlife is confirmed cursed. And we'll tell you why. The biggest week 3 matchups to look up for, to look forward to this week, and then we predict them. Mike McCarthy, is he worse than Jason Garrett? Is this the year that Russell Wilson finally wins the MVP? We got to talk finals in the NBA. Also, Billy Donovan going to the Bulls. Our biggest surprises of the season so far in college football. You know, I got the MLB power rankings in the playoff race. Then for UFC, the nicest call ever. And then 2 championship belts are on the line this Saturday at UFC 253 Fight Island, Abu Dhabi. We're going to give our predictions for that. But of course, as I said, Jalen, you know that meme with Stephen A. is just his Twitter that says pain with his face over it.
Yes.
That's all I felt this whole weekend. We even had the Broncos Twitter account going out of the way and doing their own thing, just tweeting pain. And it's, can't describe it because injuries, some of the worst ones from this week include Nick Bosa, out for the season, ACL. Saquon Barkley, out for the season, ACL. Christian McCaffrey, high ankle sprain, maybe 3 to 5 weeks. Drew Lock, sprained shoulder, 3 to 5 weeks. Cortland Sutton, torn ACL, out for the season. Jimmy Garoppolo, high ankle sprain, 3 to 5 weeks. And the question is, Jalen, which injury is the most detrimental to their team's success?
I think there's going to be 2, but 2 different opinions on them. So I think the biggest one overall is going to be Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is going to have the biggest effect. He is a big part of their defensive line. And he's kind of that point off edge. You don't have to worry about him, because that's kind of one point, I don't have to worry about, honestly. Like, no offense, but that part, you're not going to have to worry about it. You're not going to have to double team that side as much. You can now double team one of the interiors or the other edge, because you don't have to worry about the side anymore. Nick Bosa's not there. He's a great player, a great presence. You always have to think about him. Now that he's not there, that's one less thing you have to think about. Obviously, they'll probably find – they did sign Ezekiel Ansah, which might help out a little bit on that side in replacing him.
He ain't no Nick Bosa.
But he's no Nick Bosa. I mean, he definitely has shown Pro Bowl level skill.
And he's the last one. He's.
It's almost like they didn't – like they need a guy like – maybe it'd be nice if they had like a guy like DeForest Buckner on their defensive line to add more pressure.
Who knows? But also, at the time, that was a really good trade.
That was a really good trade at the time.
You just can't see this.
You can't predict it. But secondly,
secondly for you,
my second one is obviously it wasn't as bad of an injury.
Double dipping, you cheater.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as an injury, but I would say Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, we've seen. He's been injured before, and when he has a lingering injury, he plays worse. And as of right now, he hasn't played his best, so you really don't want him to look worse than he's looking right now.
Yeah.
You don't want anything bugging him.
So. Now, with this question, though, I look at different ways. The impact now on the team or the impact of the future on a player. And I'm gonna go.
Hmm.
You win with the team. I'm gonna argue with the player. Saquon Barkley is going to have the biggest impact. His absence is going to have the biggest impact because second-year quarterback Daniel Jones, what how he's not the best. He's still developing. He has talent, he has potential, but he is not there yet. And how do you help out a struggling quarterback or a developing quarterback, especially a rookie or second year Jalen, with a really good run game so you don't have to throw the ball 50 times a game. You have something dependable to back you up. You have a running back that can be your safety blanket, take passes out of the backfield, get a few yards, be your check down guy. Daniel Jones doesn't have that anymore. And he doesn't even have Sterling Shepard right now either. The Giants are so limited, and it's going to really hurt Daniel Jones. It's going to hurt his potential. It's also going to hurt his development as a quarterback. Year two is huge, and he's missing out on the biggest piece of their offense. This is really going to come back to bite them in the butt. Guaranteed.
The reason I did not go with that is the Giants recently signed Devonta Foreman or Freeman. Is it Foreman or Freeman?
It's Freeman.
Yes. Uh, and I don't think he's going to be Saquon by any means necessary. I do not think he'll be the level Saquon is.
Well,
but I think
not, right?
I think he'll provide a good enough run game to where people still have to respect it. Obviously, behind that
if he was going to provide that good enough of a run game, he would have been signed by now. It wouldn't be week 3. He still wouldn't be
honestly,
out there.
I think the reason he wasn't signed was his asking price. I think his asking price was probably too high.
We'll see. But it's a bad situation for the Giants. And like I said, though, Jalen, Sunday, MetLife Stadium, so the Niners came out, and just let me read you this. At the end of the game, the Niners were without Dee Ford, Richard Sherman, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, and Raheem Mostert. And now, if you are at home and you're counting, how many is that, Jalen?
That is 8.
Do I need to get the calculator for that? That's 1, 2. 8. I think it's 8. Carry the 1. It's 8. 8 guys out of the game at the end of 1. And they come out and say that it's the turf. The turf was sticky. It was bad. It was all this. The NFL is actually investigating the turf at this point. But also, you really got to feel bad for the Niners because they're over there at Greenbrier because they have to play in MetLife again next week against the Giants. So, oh boy, that's rough. But even their mobile MRI truck broke down trying to get to the team hotel. You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
This really makes you think.
But you want to think, though, Jalen? You want to think? MetLife Stadium is haunted. You want to go back a few years? This is why. Go back a few years. What'd you have when they were playing the Cowboys? The Black Cat.
Cat.
You had the Black Cat at MetLife when the Giants were playing. The Black Cat. You remember? They share a stadium, so it counts. Okay, it counts. Yeah, Black Cat. And last year, where was Sam Darnold seeing ghosts? Where was it? Oh, that's right. It was at MetLife. And now you got this turf. Literally, people use it as like a saying. No, literal turf monster in MetLife destroying the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
You might call it conspiracy. You might call it stupid, which I'm going to blame you. Or you might call it, oh my gosh, that's one of the most genius takes I've ever heard. I should subscribe to them and tell everyone I know and even remotely care about to subscribe to them and to go to their website, fourthandlong.com.
Not just do all 3. Just do all 3.
Oh, I'm so shameless with the plugs. But the thing is, though, you can't deny straight evidence. You can't deny the cold hard facts. MetLife Stadium is haunted. It's building a reputation. You have Monster House. No, this is Monster Stadium, okay? Soon enough. And also, it's not the same stadium, but the old Giants Stadium, even Mythbusters tests out, there's a rumor that there's a body buried in the end zone.
Yep.
It doesn't stop everything you do. I feel like if I pan the camera a little more to your right, you'd see a wall with just a bunch of red string going to a bunch of pictures and stuff on the wall, like I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist, because I am. Yeah.
I'm going to start that wall today. I'm going to start.
New website is going up, okay? Because MetLifeisHaunted.com. You can check on that.
I have an idea. Wait for it in the future. But one day there will be a fourth and long episode where we debunk sports conspiracy theories
Or
about
reprove
field
them.
players or prove them.
No, 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 no,
Just
no,
look
no, no.
for
Okay. But with that now, let's get serious, Jalen. Very serious.
All right.
Very serious. Nah, I'm just playing. We're not. But it's the question I have for you now, though. If we mention the Cowboys and we mention the Giants, with Jason Garrett is now on, Mr. Clapper, is Mike McCarthy. I mean, we talked about this in our NFL Week 2 recap show, which is up live with Alex Kropp. You can see that everywhere. But is the Giants or the Cowboys barely survived a comeback because the Falcons suck, okay? So they barely survived and came back. But is Mike McCarthy worse than Jason Garrett? He's not. He's not.
I mean,
You can make the argument. It could really seem like this, but the thing is, we're 2 games in. What I like from Mike McCarthy, a lot of people criticize him for running trick plays, but I appreciate Jason Garrett would never even had the balls to run the trick play. Okay, and at least Mike McCarthy is not just seeing this bad trick play. They're going, "Good job, guys. We'll get them next time." He's not clapping the whole damn game. Okay,
down
he seems
40
like
ton clapping the entire damn time.
I saw a couple people like this going over Twitter. I had to bring this up, but I think this is just wrong. This is damn near blasphemous, and it's just not true.
Yeah, exactly. Mike McCarthy is in no way worse than Jason Garrett. When Mike McCarthy goes 4 to 5 years of almost making playoffs or making playoffs and losing to a team you should have beat, then we can say it. But there is no way this early to say he's worse. He's still getting it down.
And
Dak
he was still
Prescott
really good in Green Bay too. He won
Dak
the Super Bowl.
Prescott's inconsistent. He's one day he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The next week it's like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not 100% on him. They did barely survive. If the Falcons weren't as terrible as they are, their secondary that wouldn't have happened.
If we want to talk about bad coaches, we brought the names Dan Quinn, Matt Patricia, Adam Gase, and then also this guy named. I don't know, I'm blanking on the last one, but we talked about 4 coaches in which ones should be fired, should they not be fired, and then check that out. That was in the Week 2 recap. But if we want to move on from the Cowboys, and if we want to talk about Dak and his inconsistencies, let's talk about a game where he can really prove a lot of people wrong. You know, if you've listened to our NFL Week 1 or our preseason Week 1 and Week 2 recaps and previews, you know Alex and I have kind of this butting heads how he was huge on the Cowboys and I wasn't. And I'm big on the Seahawks and he isn't. So there's a lot around the game for us, just for personal pride, which is always big, right, Jalen? Always big.
Yes, obviously. Biggest thing on the show.
But one of the games on Sunday, we have the Dallas Cowboys at the Seattle Seahawks, and this game is huge. Not only just for my personal pride, Alex's personal pride, but for the teams. This is a big prove-it game for Dak Prescott, for that Cowboys offense. Can that Cowboys defense stop the really high-powered Seahawks offense, and can that Seahawks defense finally not get sliced and diced in the passing game? There's a lot riding on this, and so I can't wait for this one, Jalen. But if we make predictions on the show, we make statements, no matter how wrong or right it is. Mostly right. Seattle is going to make a statement. They're winning this game. Dak Prescott is going to throw for more than 350 yards, and the Seahawks are going to win this by 6.
I think this game is going to be a little more out of hand. I think Dallas is going to show up exactly how they should have against Atlanta, but they're not going to be able to cover ground like they did against Atlanta. They're not going to. Seattle's not going to make the same mistakes that Atlanta made. Seattle has a better defensive backfield than Atlanta has. They have a better pass rush than Atlanta has. They have better linebackers than Atlanta has. They have a better overall defense than Atlanta has.
Hey, Atlanta does have Earl Thomas, and Thomas beat up Atlanta too.
Exactly. I think Dak Prescott is sacked at least 4 times. I think he's going to throw 2 picks, and I think he's going to throw for a lot because I think they're going to be down most of the game to where they can't run the ball because they can't run out of time. So I think he's going to throw for a lot. I think he's going to throw at least 40 passes, at least. I'll say 46 to be exact. And
46. I swear, if you actually hit that number, I'm gonna be pissed.
I think Seattle wins by 12. 12.
See, the thing is, both these teams now have wins over the Falcons, and it was an ugly comeback win for the Cowboys, which doesn't bode well when the Seahawks thoroughly beat up on the Falcons. And the only reason that their defense gave up a lot of yards or some extra points is that they were garbage time. So Seattle should have all the firepower to beat up on this Dallas team. But the thing is with both these teams, it's just a matter of showing up. So that's going to be a huge matchup on Sunday. Another Sunday one is the Sunday night game. We had the New Orleans Saints on Monday losing to the Raiders by like 10 in the Raiders' new game at their $2 billion Roomba. And the offense just didn't look good. It looked pedestrian. Drew Brees looked pedestrian. And then you have a team that is just on an all-out revenge tour. Aaron Rodgers is coming for that MVP. He's coming for you, Russell Wilson, and he's coming to prove every single person that's ever doubted him wrong. He's treating everyone in the league right now like he treats his own family. He's killing them, and he's just disrespecting all of them. So, can New Orleans, at home, recover from their Week 2 loss and make a statement against one of the hottest teams in football right now? No, they're not. Green Bay is going to beat them by 13.
Ouch, 13?
Green Bay by 13.
Green Bay by 13. I mean, I did just guess Seattle by 12. I think New Orleans going to definitely have a better week. I think they kind of underestimated the Raiders going into that game, and they started off really slow, thinking they were just going to pick them apart.
Thomas, he definitely did on Twitter.
Yeah, it went up by 10. They were like, "This is it," It doesn't happen. Nope. 10 has been an unlucky number for teams. I forget the number, but a lot of teams have gone up by 10 and lost so far this year.
That's like having a 3-goal lead in hockey, the worst lead.
Yeah. I think the Saints are going to win it. I think they're going to pull it off. I think it's going to be a shootout between Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. I think the defenses are going to get torched, but I think the game's going to come down to one defense stepping up, like a late pick or a strip or just sack. I think it's going to be offensive shootout for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, one of the defenses is going to step up.
And now the week cap game. We have the number one, and for most people, these are the top 2 teams in the league. For most people, this is a preview of the AFC Championship game. For most people, the Super Bowl winner this year is going to be one of these 2 teams. Monday Night Football is going to be electric over there in Baltimore. If only we had fans for this game. Sweet damn, it would be crazy. But Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, the $500 million arm, is taking on the defending league MVP Lamar Jackson with a solid defense behind him, and they're rolling right now. Kansas City is coming off of a very sloppy game against the Chargers, and Baltimore has just been rolling the last 2 weeks, whether they destroyed the Browns or they just beat up on the Houston Texans. And I think I'm expecting from this game, you remember a couple years ago that wild Rams-Chiefs Monday Night Football game?
I was just thinking about that, yeah.
It could very, very well be that game. I see this going 2 ways. This is either going to be the best game of the season, or it's somehow going to disappoint us because we're NFL fans and we don't deserve anything good, and it's going to be one of the biggest snoozers of all time. I'm leaning towards the prior, but I'm expecting fireworks this game. I'm expecting high-powered offense, not a lot of defense, but at the same time, this game is going to be won on defense. You said that last game. No, this game is going to be won on defense. And who has a better defense? Hands down, the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win this one in the close one by 4.
I think this one in a I think it's going to come down to the quarterback's legs. I think the pass rush is going to dictate this game defensive-wise, and I think obviously Lamar is a better scrambler. But just like we saw last week, Patrick Mahomes can move. He got that 3rd and 20 last week in clutch time.
So stupid.
I think whoever can avoid getting sacked is definitely going to win this game. But I do think it's gonna come down to passing touchdowns. I don't see Lamar running for a bunch of touchdowns here. I mean, he can obviously any day of the week. Lamar can, but I expect this to come down to both the quarterbacks' arms, uh, and then whoever can stay up the longest. These pass rushes, while not the top of the league pass rushes, are going to be getting pressure on these two quarterbacks because they know how important it is. It's a big game. They're going to be getting pressure. Whoever can stay in the pocket long enough to make that good throw or get out the pocket to, make that check down. I think that's who wins this game. I have it been a close game. I think it's going to come down to a last second field goal. I'm feeling Baltimore on this one. I think Baltimore wants payback from them getting eliminated first round.
Week 3 is going to be fun. Hopefully there's less injuries this one. If you're the San Francisco 49ers, I suggest showing to MetLife in your own personal bubbles.
But I do have one more game that I think is going to be big. And it's not, I know my team is involved, but it's not because my team is involved. A big game this week is going to be the Lions versus Cardinals, because if the Cardinals blow out the Lions, I think Matt Patricia is getting fired within the next few weeks. If he has another lackluster performance, obviously they should have won that week 1 game due to a drop pass by DeAndre Swift in the last seconds of the game. They lost that game. But last week they got destroyed. They look terrible, absolutely terrible. If he looks bad again,
well, they look good for about 15 minutes.
For about 15 minutes.
Give them some credit, Jalen. Okay.
For like 15 minutes, they look cool. But I think if they get blown out again, that I think the talks and chirps are going to start talking. That he might start losing his job. I think out of all the coaches who are struggling, I think he might be the first one to lose his job. So I think that's a big game to watch.
And you can hear what me and Alex had to say on that one if you go to week 2 recap.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There's so many plugs this show. Now, Jalen, it's your time to shine. Okay, with our NBA segment, this is your thing. This is why I brought you on. This is your expertise. My first question to you, though, right now. Miami is up in the Eastern Conference Finals. Who the hell would have thought Miami would be in this position right now? But the Celtics are down 2-1. Does Boston have enough to, on the night of recording, the Game 4 is going on pretty much right now as we're recording, but does Boston have enough to come back against Miami?
I think that Boston, to win these games, it cannot be close. Miami has shown time and time again in close games, they'll make clutch free throws, clutch shots. They'll do what they have to do. Right now in recording, hopefully you've watched this game or at least have seen the results. Right now the score is with 6 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Miami is up 91-85. Another close game. I think Miami's going to pull this off and go up 3-1. You can't be in a close game with Miami. They have too many people who can make clutch defensive plays. Bam Adebayo, clutch offensive plays. Their shooters are crazy. Jimmy Butler only plays when the game's pretty much close.
Tyler Hero?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a freaking shooter.
Bro,
yeah.
What?
I don't know if it's Hero. I think it's Hero.
Tyler. You got. It does my base. You got a dude that looks like the basic person in your NBA My Player customization. Okay, he just looks like the computer generated version, but it's like he's playing on rookie mode.
Yes, but
this dude came out of nowhere.
It's like they can play. Like they can have somebody have a terrible game, which as of right now, like I'm saying, they have Jamison Crowder is 1 for 9, and Robinson is 0 for 5, 0 for 4 from 3-point. That's 2 people in their lineup right now, starters, who have 1 basket. They are 1 for 14 combined, and they are winning by 6 points right now.
But shout out to that one guy, Jalen. Shout out to that one guy on Twitter that when Jimmy Butler left for South Beach, he was like, have fun at the beach. At least you'll be able to have like nice weather on your couch or something like that.
Yeah.
And now look at the Sixers. Look at the Sixers. The Miami Heat. I'm just going to say right now, Jalen, the Miami Heat are going to the finals against the next team we're going to talk about, at least one of these 2 teams. But then the next one is, can the Nuggets compete with the Lakers? Do they have enough talent to push it to Game 6 or Game 7? Can they make this a legitimate series? It's 2-1 right now. Do they have another thing like Boston? Do they have the talent to keep up with the high-powered Lakers team?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same exact thing, but opposite. For this one, I think the Lakers are more the team you can't be close with because they do have LeBron and AD, who can both make very clutch shots and kind of come alive in clutch situations. I feel like you have to kind of have to dominate
Hmm.
against them. Like obviously I'm not saying 10, 15 point blowouts. I'm saying you got to win by 6 points. You got to win by seven. You can't be 3 seconds they have the ball. They'll most likely make that
Hmm.
shot, bring you to overtime and tire you out in that
You mean
overtime to
like
win
what they
things.
did in game two?
Exactly. They definitely you need to get a distance from them, even if it's only like a small 6, 5 point. It needs to be a 2 possession win for the Nuggets to win the game. If it's coming down to one possession, I think Jamal Murray can make those shots. But I think a lot of the time the Lakers are going to outscore them in those close one shot, one
Hmm.
basket game differences. I think they can do it though. They obviously won last game to get it to 2-1. A lot of people were saying yesterday if the
With a
Nuggets
really
lost,
good performance by the Nuggets too, a
yes,
solid team
great
performance.
performance.
And
Hmm.
they were spraying the ball around, multiple point scorers, and that's how you beat the Lakers. The Lakers are too talented for you to not like. I mean, the Nuggets position. I mean, Jokic is phenomenal, but he's not going to be able to put 50 points against the Lakers. You have to spread that ball
Yeah.
around.
And like I said, the reason he can't be a close game yesterday, as an example, the Nuggets outscored the Lakers in every single quarter last game, except for the fourth quarter, where
Hmm.
they got outscored by 10 points. They got outscored by 10 points in the fourth quarter and still won the game. You have to build up a heavy lead and make them play catch up. Because if you're sitting there back and forth with them, they're gonna make sure that their coaching is good and they have too much experience on their team.
Hmm.
They'll find a way to make sure they get the last shot, and they'll make sure that they can get that shot to go in, or a play where they have the best chance of getting that shot going in.
Hmm.
And that's not what you want. You have to be put in a position where they have to play catch up and they tire themselves out before they can actually catch up and you guys can take the dub. So I think that's how the Denver Nuggets can win the series
Hmm.
against the Lakers.
Are they though?
I would like them to, honestly.
I'm
Um,
predicting right now, Jalen. Both so it's going to be a 5 game series in the East with the Heat taking it 4-1. It's going to be a 7 game series in the West with the Nuggets taking it 4-3. We're going to get a Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets NBA Finals because it's 2020 and it doesn't make sense, but that's why it makes sense.
yeah. Let's look at just like honestly, I think the Nuggets are going to take it because I mean, like, yeah, there's LeBron and AD on the Lakers, but Jamal Murray and Jokic are not somebody to just look past. I think, like, if we look at yesterday's game, Jamal Murray yesterday in the fourth quarter in OT was 25 for 39. 25 for 39. 8 for 11 during the clutch time. Like, if he's doing that and keeping them in the game, which he pretty much helped them win that game yesterday
Hmm.
because the Lakers were catching back up very quickly.
Hmm.
He kept them in that game, uh, and in over like it's
Yeah.
you can't let them catch up.
No.
So I think I would love to see the Nuggets win it. I think they can. I think they proved it last series that they can compete with the best. And I think they'll prove it again this time. I think it does go 7 games again.
Hmm.
But I do have them winning the series 4-3, Denver.
That would be wild, and that would be a huge surprise if that actually happens. And if we want to speak about surprises, Jalen, let's talk some college football for the first time this year. Isn't that just absolutely beautiful? Can we just take a moment and just soak it in? College football, and with college football, who the hell would have thought the Sun Belt Conference would be playing like this?
Yeah,
The Sun
yeah.
Belt Conference is out here taking names, taking paychecks, taking souls, and if the leader of the pack is a number 19 team in the nation right now in Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. Oh my gosh, they go out there in their first game. They beat down Iowa State and
Hmm.
they become ranked for the first time since 1943, and they have not looked back. To me, that's one of the biggest surprises to me this year, alongside with the Big Ten actually growing a pair and voting to
Hmm.
have a season. Because I think we can all agree that this was big news when it happened, because college football is better with the Big Ten. It just
Yes.
is. And then you have without the Big Ten, it would have been hard to have a legitimate champion. For
Yes.
whoever's winning, even if it's an SEC team, it's still the Big Ten and the SEC are always is seemingly. I mean, besides Clemson, because I'm not saying the ACC. No, I'm just saying Clemson, just Clemson.
Mhm.
That conference is not good. If it wasn't for Clemson, they wouldn't be Power Five. Let's be real. I'd
Yes.
rather see the Sun Belt. Give me Conference USA.
Yes.
Hey, no, no, don't give me the ACC. What I really need in my life, Jalen, is some Maction.
Man, you just give me that Mountain League, man.
And shout out to my Mountain West, Boise State. Speaking of Boise State, Tyler Raza, best XFL kicker of all time, DC Defenders. He was on the show for an interview. Check that out.
Interview.
I'm so sorry. I'm just on fire today with my plugs.
See, if you listen to these things already, we don't have to say it.
Hey,
So
so just
more of a
listen,
show.
okay? Just
Just
listen.
listen the first time.
See, and then your biggest surprise you think so far this year? Is it that Notre Dame is actually playing conference games?
Yeah, probably. In all honesty,
That was the
yeah.
weirdest thing. Notre Dame in the conference was it 2020? Oh wait,
Yep.
it is.
Who would have thought? Yeah, no, that was a pretty big surprise. I think the Raging Cajuns have probably been my biggest surprise
I
overall.
love it. Just based off the name, man. Just based off the name.
Raging Cajuns, like whoever came up with that needs to open a chicken spot first of all, and second of all, needs a raise. But yeah, that's probably been my biggest surprise. They've been very dominant, obviously, with not everybody playing and schedules being adapted because of that. They have a slight advantage, but still, I think even if everyone was playing, they'd still be doing pretty damn well.
Mhm.
So they've been my biggest surprise this season.
I
Still,
agree. And then I guess the only thing that could surprise me if the Pac-12 actually plays, they're having a meeting with the university president soon, but
mm-hmm.
it's not like anyone cares about the Pac-12 anyway. I do. It's unfortunate,
Okay.
but it's with Pac-12 after dark, and then you can see from the voters in any like whether it be for the Heisman or whether it be for the playoffs, no one really actually cares about the Pac-12. So, what you gonna do? You know, what you gonna do? But moving on from that, it's almost October, Jalen. Oh, that sounds so bad. It's almost October. But at least with
Well,
October, what we get is Halloween. What we get is Justin Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. We'll get to our MMA stuff in a second. And what we do get is October baseball. It's almost World Series time, buddy. And so, coming
yes.
down to the end of the season, it's time for power rankings. Of course, your weekly power rankings. So,
Mm-hmm.
starting us off, number 5, we have a team that was sucking hard,
Terribly.
and now they rattled off 10 wins in a row. They've 8-2 in their last 10. They absolutely turned the Toronto Blue Jays into a punching bag. I think they hit 18 home runs in 3 games. It was just blowout after blowout after blowout. The Yankees are second in the AL East, but they are 5th in my power rankings.
Mm-hmm.
If they stay hot like this, they're going to be trouble in the playoffs, and they come from being
Yeah.
unranked to becoming our number 5 team this week, based off of last week's rankings. The number 4 team is the same number 4 team as last week. It is the Oakland Athletics. They clinched the division recently over the Houston Astros, so it doesn't matter if you're an A's fan or not. When the Astros lose, we win, so everyone is a fan of the A's at this point. Even you, Jalen.
Yes. A big Giants fan, but as long as you beat the Astros, I don't care. I'm a fan.
the Bringing the world together. This is how we're going to save 2020, Jalen, by a mutual hatred of the Houston Astros.
Yep. I want to see them get dominated and destroyed.
Oh, it's the best. So the A's, they're just saying 5-5 in the last 10. Last week they were 6-4 in the last 10. They're division champs, and they're going back to the postseason. Let's say if they lose a 10th elimination game in a row. I hope not. Otherwise, I probably just need to end it. But they're my number 14 for this week. Number
Yes.
3. They were the number 1 team last week. They were white hot. Yeah, see what I did there? See what I did
Just
there?
White
They're white
Sox.
hot. The White Sox are number
They
3
just
this
came out
week.
the dryer and now they cooled off.
They were 8-2 last week in the last 10. They're 5-5. So one of the best teams in the league. One of the best teams in the American League. But number 3 isn't bad. They've kind of cooled off recently, but they're still a very good team right there. My next one is going to be what was the number 3 team last week is the number 2 team this week. We had the Tampa Bay Rays, currently the division leader in the AL East. They haven't clinched it yet. The Yankees are right there on them, but it looks like the Tampa Bay Rays might be division champs this year in the AL East. Crazy stuff. 2020 still has not disappointed. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're just cruising along to the playoffs. But the best team in the league they dropped. For the first time, they were number 1 last week. They were number 2. But they're back to the usual place at number 1. The Dodgers 7-3 in their last 10. They just clinched their division a couple nights ago. And hey, they're going to be a really good team in the playoffs. And I think it's a fairly easy consensus in number 1.
Yes.
Now, Jalen, you might have some a little more pull in this because they're still fighting. Let's talk about the playoff race, okay?
Yes.
A little bit going on right now. There's still a few spots up for grabs. So, as of clinched teams right now, we have the Rays, the Yankees, the White Sox, the Twins, and the Indians have all clinched playoff spots. The A's have clinched their division. The Braves have clinched their division. The Cubs and Padres have clinched a playoff spot, and the Dodgers have clinched the division. Some of the fights we see, the biggest ones we see right now, with 4 games left to go in the season, we have the Phillies and the Marlins duking it out for one of the spots, and then Phillies are 1.5 games back with 4 games left to go. Probably not going to do it, but hey, if Miami really drops the ball, which in all seriousness, who would be surprised? There's a chance we could see the overpaid Bryce Harper still make the playoffs. Oh, that's something. And then we also have the Reds and the Cardinals fighting for that second spot in their division. The Reds are 1 game back with 4 games left to go. None of these teams play each other, but the Reds have the best chance, I think. Do they?
I thought the Reds and Cardinals were in a series right now. Are they not?
They are. The Reds and Cardinals. I think of all these, they're with the Brewers. Then they played the Twins. They finished the season off with the Twins, who are really good. But just barely out the top 5. So it can happen. I think the Reds had the best chance out of this, and the Giants still may be able to get that 8th seed with the expanded playoffs. So
the Giants are 1 game back. They're in a series with the Rockies right now. Series has been very close back and forth all year. Earlier this week, they actually did have the 8th seed before a loss to the A's. And then
Battle of the Bay winners again, baby. Woo. The first 2 games were 6-0. Okay.
We still put up more runs.
Hey, but who won the series? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We put up 14 runs.
Doesn't matter. You're not making the playoffs.
Yes, we are.
Okay, maybe. There's a good chance. It's so close to the end of the season.
Yeah, this year as a Giants fan, I was kind of just like, yay, we have a chance, but hopefully I don't have to have another.
Yay, we can make the playoffs as a pity team by being an 8th seed to get blown up by the Dodgers in the first series.
I believe our series with the Dodgers this season is even, if I'm not wrong.
As long as Kershaw is not pitching, the Dodgers are really good in the playoffs. So
yep, they're going to pitch with Kershaw, so we have a chance.
They got Fighters chance right Kershaw pitches. If we're talking about a fighter's chance, a puncher's chance, let's finish with the UFC. Ooh, yes. Whether it be my segues or my plugs, tonight it's just one of those nights, everyone. It's A1 game time. We witnessed a couple of days ago the nicest call out of all time. We had all around nice guy Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, currently number 6 welterweight in the world, he called out Leon Edwards over Twitter. His first time
Hmm.
calling out someone over Twitter, he admitted that it felt weird and it did look weird. Just get this dude to fight for the we had the BMF belt. Get him the NMF belt, the
Hmm.
nicest motherfricker because we're advertiser friendly here. Sponsor us. And
We
so
bleep
Wonder
out
Boy
our.
calls out Leon Edwards because seemingly everyone's been forgetting about him. He's been stuck in England, which is awful. I feel bad for anyone that's stuck in England, except for you, our British viewers. We love you sometimes. Don't mind the two flags behind me.
Yeah, but that doesn't look too good for you back there. But
They're getting flashbacks. They're getting flashbacks. He belongs in the harbor. And then everyone's saying that people are ducking Leon Edwards. So Stephen Thompson, one of the best people, a really good fighter, goes on, calls him out. I love this matchup. But then we had coming off of his one punch 17-second win over Brad Mearshart, Chimaev, man. Chimaev.
yeah, he's the real
Kazmat
deal.
Chimaev jumps in. He goes, "No, I'm fighting you instead." So first, Chimaev is going to take the soul of Damian Maya if he even wants to sign that contract anymore after what we saw on Saturday. Then he's going to fight Wonder Boy, which could actually be a really good matchup.
Yeah, it's not very often that you see somebody who still has a fight that is coming up asking for another fight.
Well, first he gets two fights done, and then he asking for another fight already. the imagine we used to
Hmm.
have the UFC one night tournaments having like multiple, like 3-4 fights a night.
Hmm.
If they bring it back, Kazma Chimaev would be the undisputed winner of any single one of those.
I gotta ask you though, Ross, with this talks of matchups, and we have all these amazing matchups coming up. This is a little bit off the agenda, but right now, is there any dream matchup that you have right now that has not been made? Since all these dream matchups have been getting made lately, I think we have to talk. What is your dream matchup that hasn't been made yet?
Colby Covington versus Street Judas.
Oh, that's a good one. The funny thing
just
is,
because just because we heard everything. We heard the crap talking like I called it. Colby Covington goes out and beats Tyron Woodley for 5 rounds, breaks his rib, TKO
yeah,
in the fifth. He doesn't make it the distance. Then he goes out and talks all this trash after the fight, just pissing everyone off. Per usual.
LeBron.
Colby Covington called out LeBron James, and if they fought, I'm taking Colby Covington by a landslide. Okay.
It depends. If it's a street fight that I might have to take. LeBron, he's just built different.
Shut up,
my dream,
Jalen. No,
my
I
dream
just
matchup.
want this because the crap talking that both of them have. They have the beef from American Top Team. It's all there. I swear, everyone Colby Covington fights, he hates. They hate each other.
Kobe actually said in his training sessions he had a harder time taking care of Tyron than he did with taking care of
Yeah.
Masvidal.
And the thing is, in terms of actual what we're going to see in the octagon, it's probably going to be Colby Covington in a decisive victory. But at the same time, you never know. You never know with Rory Masvidal and that flying knee. Also, most of it is just for the trash talk. I just want the trash talk.
Honestly,
Just give
my
it to me.
dream matchup right now that has been made, but also doesn't include Colby Covington. My dream matchup right now would be Colby Covington moving up to 185 to fight the champ Israel Adesanya to see how
Whoa.
Colby would do that matchup.
Whoa.
I like that one. That one
I've
was
never heard that take before.
yeah, no, I thought of it because of Israel did call Colby out for some of the comments he did make earlier after
Let's
his fight.
yeah, let's not talk about the
And I
9/11
know I'm not
comments
going to
for
go
me.
into those. Yeah,
Let's
yeah, I'm
not
not.
get into that, right?
But that's why I just said some comments he made. I wasn't going to go
I
into
don't
deep
like
about
that
them.
matchup for Colby. He's really good in the welterweights in terms of his
Mm.
size. Israel's just gonna have too much of a reach on him, and I don't like it. But at the same time, shoot, if Colby gets mad enough and they pay him the right amount of money, he'll do it.
That trash talk and that lead up and then that fight, that fight would be amazing.
That fight
Obviously,
would be similar to the one that's going to happen this Saturday because another one, UFC 253. it's this week, and unfortunately, we weren't able to get a full preview show for you guys this week. But that's what happens when I'm working 2 jobs and 18 units of school. We can just do it this. So hey, but just be happy because we're possibly getting 4 shows this week. So it's a great
Yes.
time to be a fan of the Fourth On podcast. Okay, but we need to talk about this 2 belts on the line on Saturday at Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, and oh boy, that light heavyweight championship, number 1, Dominic Reyes. A lot of people think he should be the champ against number 3, Jan Blachowicz. A guy that touches a noose before every fight.
He does what?
You've seen that, right?
Oh.
His good luck charm, he touches a noose before all of his fights because he found someone in the woods. It is in home, like in Poland, I believe. And he found a dude hanging there when he was walking his dogs in the forest. So just don't go into the forest, whether it be Poland or Japan. Looking at you, we all know who I'm talking about. And then, but apparently it's good luck to keep the rope. According to their customs, it's good luck to keep the rope that someone hung themselves with. But he didn't want to disturb it. But he just leaves it on the tree and he goes out to the tree and touches the rope before every fight. There's a video of it on his Twitter page. It was some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen, but at the same time, some of the most interesting stuff I've ever seen.
That's fucking weird.
Right? Right? it's something. It really is something. But hey, to each their own. To each their own, okay? But Dominic Reyes and Dom and Jan, man, this is going to be a really good matchup. This isn't making it out of the second round. These guys are just going to try to murder each other. And, but the thing is, though, I would not be surprised if Jan somehow. The worst thing for Dominic is he arguably got screwed out of beating the GOAT in John Jones. Well, sorry, not GOAT, but the light heavyweight GOAT, at least. So he arguably gets screwed out of that. And then imagine if he gets another chance. It's his era. And then Jan wins. That win.
Yeah.
I see Dominic winning, but Jan has a solid chance in this fight. Is a thing.
Yeah, 2 guys who can turn the fight around in one punch, so it's really hard to
for light
make
heavyweights.
this.
It's I mean they're close to heavyweights, but they really do have heavyweight power.
Yeah, I think I really like Dominic, but I think I would take Jan. I mean, I'll still have to look into it and kind of get my actual full-on prediction done.
Jalen defends his Suck My Pick title this weekend. I'm a 2-time champ. I was the inaugural, and then 2 times Jalen is now successfully defending his belt once, like I have. So he's going for the historical.
The record, yeah.
He's going for the record. He's not going to get it, but there's a lot riding on the line this weekend.
Picks this week, very in-depth picks.
It's gonna be interesting, but I see Dominic in this one. Don't be surprised if Jan wins, though.
I see right now. Before I look into it, I think I'm gonna go with Jan, second round, middle of second round knockout over.
Oh boy! And now the middleweight championship. It will be defended in the main event in one of the most anticipated, arguably one of the biggest middleweight fights of all time. We have 19-0 Israel Adesanya against 13-0 Paulo Costa, the balloon boy, or whatever the hell Israel called him.
Bumped up Ricky Martin.
I want to be Ricky Martin. Yeah. And he said after I piss him up, he's going to look like Ricky Martin. It's so good. Yep. So good. A lot riding on this, and my prediction for this fight is that it's not going to be a close fight, but in either direction. But I really do think that Israel, like he did against Yoel Romero, even though that was a bit of a snooze fest, Izzy is going to be able to keep his range, and he's such a technical striker. He puts on a master class every time he steps into whether it be the squared circle when he was doing his kickboxing, or the octagon, the cage in the UFC now. He's so technical with his kicks, with his punches. We saw him just destroy Robert Whittaker, and he does have a chin, as we saw against Kelvin Gastelum for the interim title. Paulo Costa is likely in for a rude awakening when he takes on a guy that's trying to be the GOAT of the middleweights.
Yeah, I think this one, if I had to like name a fight that describes how this one's gonna go, I think this is gonna be kind of similar to how Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor went. It's kind of hyped up, looked like a very even fight, but then McGregor's precision just kind of freaking
Mhm.
obliterated Eddie Alvarez. I think that's how it's going to be. I think it's going to be when the fight first starts. I think both were going to land. I think Paulo Costa's going to throw a shot,
Both guys are going to get
and
bloody for sure.
yeah, and then I think he's going to throw a shot. Israel's going to be out the way, not there, and I think he's going to stun him, and I think he's just going to stay on him, and
Well, you
then
gotta
I think
remember,
it.
Izzy's a counter fighter too. He's a counter puncher with extreme precision. If Paulo Costa makes one mistake, Izzy's going to make him pay for it.
Oh yeah, and we saw that while Paulo Costa can take a hit, it does wear on him, especially in that Yoel Romero
And
fight.
we gotta remember, he's fought Yoel Romero. No one is the same after that.
Except Izzy because
Izzy
Izzy
didn't
didn't
get
get hit.
touched.
Which is I still, in my opinion, I'm a big fan of Yoel Romero, but I do blame that fight on Yoel
Yes.
Romero
Yeah.
for being
Well,
like
you're
that.
the challenger. You have to push the fight. That's just how it
Yeah,
goes.
I'm not gonna
Paulo
knock.
Costa, I trust Paulo Costa to not chase, but I think he will bring it. So that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Izzy.
That Paulo Costa had the utmost confidence in himself that he thinks he's actually going to win this in the first round. Like 100% thinks he's going to win this in the first round.
All I know is that I can't wait for this fight. I can't wait for this
Yeah.
card. The next two pay-per-views are going to be amazing. Fight Island is going to be amazing. And man, Fight Island, that's still one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah.
Nothing better, right?
And nah, I can't think of anything in recent history that was just like that amazing.
Dana White got an island. That's all we know. But
So people could.
right. That's going to wrap it for us, folks. This has been episode 52 of the Fourth and Long podcast. Of course, I've been Ross Allen. This is Jalen Johnson. Listen to our show, buy our merch because, and I say that like kind of crudely, but I really do appreciate everyone that's been watching us and listening to us, especially all of our new fans recently. Really do, but from the bottom of my heart, appreciate the hell out of you guys. But just make sure that if you want to keep up with everything, follow us on Twitter at Fourth Long Radio, Instagram at Fourth and Long Radio. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Anchor, we're anywhere you get your podcasts from. And just check out www.thefourthandlong.com. But big things are happening here with us, and it's time to hop on the hype train. Straight up. Like Kazma Chimaev, bro. Hop on the train.
Yeah, running people over.
Running people over. But everyone, enjoy UFC 253. Enjoy week 3 of the NFL season. Enjoy the playoff race in the NBA or in the MLB. And then enjoy seeing the dumbest finals, or maybe not the dumbest, but the most unlikely finals we're going to see in recent memory. We'll catch you guys in the next pod.